What's going on, boys? It's Daddy Big here, and today I want to welcome you back to the series where I talk about steering wheels and pedals and all those things that make the fast cars go vroom vroom. And yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about you know, dangerous driving and kind of my thoughts on it. And I feel, you know, they say that if there's one thing that unites all human beings, it is that deep down we all think that we're good drivers, better than most even. But I think I'm not like some sort of, I don't know how you can be a great driver, you know what I mean? Just on the road. I feel like I do my best. I try not to drive too slow, try not to drive too fast. And when it's wet outside and snowy or any of that stuff, I try to be safe. But when it's dry out, there's kind of there's the whole thing of like, they say, let me put it this way. They say, if you're not going 5 over, you're going to get tailgated. So, that's pretty normal. I feel like a lot of people go a little bit over the speed limit, which is like fine. Who cares, But, and here's my thing, right? Here's, just before I get into any specific stories, as far as like speeding goes, and like aggressive driving and passing people and all that, I feel like it's not that big of a not that big of a deal, and like it doesn't make a difference. Like if you go like 10 over and pass someone, like when people do that to me, I end up being at a stoplight right next to them. So like half the time, I feel like speeding doesn't even really help you that much when you're just going on roads, And it's like, the other thing too is, even if, you can, go 5 over and not really, cause a problem, there's still, you have to recognize that there's still an inherent danger in going faster than what you're supposed to. It's still, there's always a risk, but there's always a risk with driving anyways. So, for me, obviously when I first started learning years ago, I would go the speed limit to prepare for taking my driving test and all that stuff. I'd always be 5 under to the speed limit, if that. Then, once you start getting on the road for real, you start toying with, going 5 over. And like, I feel like that's not that big of a deal most of the time. Like, it's not like you're even going to get pulled over for that, A lot of people are going 5 over. And again, you'll be the one getting passed. But, so I feel like, if it's a safe situation, especially if like there's no one around on the road, it pretty much is like, it's fine, I will say, for me, I always try to be reasonable, If someone's going the speed, like, if someone's going 45, 46 and a 45, and there's people on the road and it's busy, I'm not going to try to do anything nutty and blaze around them. Like, I'll just go the speed limit, like, that's where you have to stop yourself and be like, it's not that deep, because it doesn't make a difference. But basically, the whole kind of reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I had something happen to me this week that just made me think about this a lot. And I realized that I had started the bad habit of passing people when I didn't really need to. And well, what I did is, this guy, because here's the thing. If you're in the left lane, you want to go fast, and I was kind of scrambled that day anyways, which is an excuse, but let me explain what was going on. So, it's the kind of thing where you catch up to someone in your lane and you're like, oh, this person's going slow, I'm going to pass. And there was no one around, so I decided I'd do it. So I get in the other lane and I start going a little faster, I'm going 5 over trying to pass this guy. But this guy wasn't actually going that slow. He was also going 5 over at least. So, but for some reason in my brain, I was like, no, I'm going to pass this guy. And like, it's not even that I thought that. It's not even that I like had some testosterone spike. It was just like, I wasn't trying to be aggressive. I was just like, oh, I'm going to pass this guy, because I needed to still be in the left lane, even though I had just changed to the right lane. I needed to turn left a light ahead of that, but I was like, all right, I still want to pass this guy and get ahead of him. So, but I'm not really gaining on him, so I go a little faster, and all of a sudden I'm going 10 over, And then all of a sudden, I'm like just barely getting ahead of him, and there's a red light coming up, and I don't need to get over yet. I need to get over by the time we get to the next light, but I was like, man, we need to stop soon. I was just about to get in front of this guy, and I'm already going much faster than I should be. So what I do is, I'm like, man, again, I don't know why, but I wanted to complete the pass. So, I mean, I'm not gonna like act like I didn't. I cut this guy off. I got right in front of him. He honked at me, and then I had to brake hard because there was a red light. So I got in front of him. He got over into the lane I was just in, and I was like, after he'd honked at me, I was just sitting there, and I was like, man, why did I do that? Like, why did I? That was so pointless. Why did I? Because I didn't set out to be aggressive, but I was just sitting there realizing, like, wow, that was reckless. That was like straight up reckless driving. And I was just sitting there like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. And then just to really send it home, the light turns green, and this guy, what he literally, like, just to be vindictive, he cuts me off. He gets right in front of me, as we're just starting to, everyone's just starting to speed up. I was going like 15, 20 miles an hour, and I had to slam on my brakes so I wouldn't hit the guy, and like, but the crazy thing was, after, my aggressive driving was met with more aggression, which is not a good thing, to be clear. That guy should not have done that. When people do aggressive stuff to me, I just let it slide because it's no point. So he shouldn't have done that for sure. But in a way, I kind of deserved it. You know what I mean? So I guess the whole rest of the drive home, I was just like, dude, that was dumb. Like, why did I get into that situation, man? So I was just sitting there kind of kicking myself, like, why did I do that? Because there was no reason to. Because I don't want to drive aggressive. I think it's stupid. And like I said, there's a way to go 5 over and be safe. But, when it comes down to it, do you really need to pass that guy? Do you really need to be going 50 and a 45? Just go the speed limit. If it's busy, just go the speed limit. It's not that big of a deal. And usually I'm good at that. I do that, but I just realized that I'd been building up that bad habit of trying to pass people all the time. And I'm just grateful that I learned my lesson in in a situation that didn't end up becoming dangerous. I was reckless for a minute. The guy gave it back to me. Again, I don't think he should have, but it got me to think. It got me to think that I need to rein it in a little bit in life. So and yeah, it just made me realize that it's just not worth it. It's really just not worth it. I mean, I always knew that, but it's the kind of thing where you got to learn in those ways sometimes, by having something happen and then learning from that. So do I regret cutting the guy off? Yeah, it was really dumb of me, but I kind of learned that, I learned firsthand that it's just not worth it, and I think because I had that experience, I'll be driving a lot safer now. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I mean, like I said, I really just think it is not worth it. I just think it's not worth it. It's just, you're not gonna get to wherever you're going that much faster. You're just not, And as I always say, think of how many more events you'll be able to be on time to if you don't die on the car ride to this one. in terms of being late to stuff. But I mean, there have been times when wake up, had to take a fat shit, and like, I'm running late to school, but it's like, dude, if I'm late, I'm late. It's like, it's really not worth driving crazy and being reckless, because I put by driving recklessly, you put yourself at risk for an accident. Like, it's just how it works. It's just simple. If you drive aggressive, you're increasing the risk for you and everyone around you. And I guess I kind of always had the mentality of, if I always drive extra careful when I have someone in the car with me, but I've always kind of had the mentality of, if I die while I'm driving myself, At least I won't be affecting anyone else. But I guess that's also pretty stupid. So long story short, I guess I just had that experience, and it just really made me realize, like I've said 27 times, that it's just not worth it to drive aggressive. And if you guys have had any experiences like this, anything you did that kind of taught you a lesson like that, let me know. I know people have said before, like, they've had similar experiences. I would never text while driving. I think that is just dumb. But certain people like hit a mailbox while texting, and then at that point they'll be like, oh, I need to stop. So I think it's good to have the universe interject and give you those little lessons, those little nudges that you need to get your act together. But yeah, I'd been dwelling on this all week, and I kind of just wanted to tell the story. And yeah, like I said, let me know if you all have had any similar experiences. And in the meantime, I want to thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one. About that whole upload schedule, I'm working on getting some stuff rolling again. And yeah, thanks for being patient with me. I've had a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, we'll see you around.